Okay, hello everyone. My name is Hirofumi Yamamoto. This is my name. Just call me Hiro. I'm from Sakanotochu Coffee Company, trading coffee from all over the world, including Southeast Asian countries. So today I'm going to introduce some tips of coffee farming and growing and maintenance. Very short. I'm going to make it short. So if you have any question, please raise your hand, and so maybe the facilitator will stop this video. Okay, let's start. So before I'm going to start, I'm going to introduce my work. I'm doing coffee farming in coffee growing region, especially Southeast Asia, like Philippines. This is Philippines. And Timor-Leste, and this is Indonesia, and Myanmar, and Laos here, Laos. Of course, this is your country, right? Nepal. I'm doing coffee farming like this in this region. Okay, let's start. So first of all, for starting up the coffee farming, the important part is keeping environment, especially the forest. So keep forest green is kind of key point for coffee farming, and actually for other crops as well. So let's say this is your mountain. In the mountain, first you have to keep the forest at the top of the mountain so that this forest can hold water in the ground, and later it can supply water to your village. And this water can be drinkable, and it can be used for irrigation to your farm, rice farming or wheat farming, corn farming, any kind of farming. That's why the keeping forest at the top of the mountain is very important. This is tree, and also this tree has a long roots. These roots, after rain, can hold water and making some water basing underneath of the roots. This basing will produce small basin later, and the water can be visualized as a pond or a river like this. Okay. So keeping forest is very important, but you also have to grow coffee. The good thing is coffee loves shade, so coffee can thrive under under trees. So you have coffee like this. You can grow coffee. And then coffee has roots. And this is shade trees. Then this shade tree also has roots. Then these roots can hold water, right? These shade trees also can provide leaf litters, meaning leaves. So there are a lot of dried leaves will go down to ground. Then these leaves will turn into nutrient for coffee trees. That's why, even though you are not much time to supply compost, but these leaves can provide nutrient to coffee trees. That's why it's very good. Also, these leaves can provide some cover in here on the ground. Then this cover will hold a lot of microorganisms, which will be very beneficial for coffee trees and any kind of crops. So that's why the shade is very good, and the leaf litter will be very nice for coffee farming. This farming system. And the other side, this farming system is not good, meaning coffee without shade trees. So because there are no leaf litters, as I said, and then consequently, the microorganism will decrease. Then soil fertility will be poor. If you don't have any shade trees with too much rain, the water will directly run off on the surface of the ground. Then nutrient in the soil will run off. Sometime landslide will happen. So again, keep natural forest green or maintain is very important. Drinkable water and soil can be improved and less input, meaning so you don't have to put a lot of compost, and prevent erosion or landslide. But also, you also can increase this natural habitat, birds or animals, insect as well. So insect is very important for coffee because of the pollination. So like bee or butterfly. So bee and butterfly will pollinate coffee flower, and later it can produce a lot of coffee fruits, and you may have a lot of production. That's why so this bees and butterfly is a kind of very important agent for pollination. So this farming system we call it agroforestry system, agroforestry farming system. So this agroforestry system, you can grow a lot of other crops as well, like this one. Let's say the timber crop, timber trees, and jackfruits, citrus, sayote, banana, papaya, macadamia as well. And also maybe you have you love spices, right? So ginger, cardamom, turmeric, you can grow along with coffee under shade. Aside from like introduction of farming system, let me introduce the characteristic of Arabica coffee. So Arabica coffee, they love cool temperature, and that's why they love high elevation, 800 meter to 2,000 meter from sea level. They love a lot of rain, precipitation, maybe annually 1,500 to 2,000 millimeter would be perfect for coffee trees. They really love a lot of water, but too much water is not good. So that's why here, sensitive to a lot of water logging. Since the roots need air, they are doing aspiration as well. So this space, air, will make coffee healthier. So that's why if you put a lot of water, or if there are a lot of waters, then it can be suffocated. The coffee tree can be suffocated. That's why too much water is not good. The roots usually absorb water and nutrient from soil. So water and nutrient goes to leaves. And by photosynthesis, leaves provide sugar. Sugar is kind of energy. Energy. And this energy goes to younger leaves to produce more leaves or grow more. Sometimes they produce here fruits. That's why good enough water and nutrient and a lot of leaves is very important. That is healthy coffee, we call it. So this is a kind of sentence I'm right. So leaves are like a kitchen. If I say if I say human life, so leaves are a kitchen to produce dishes from food. So food is water and nutrient. And they use heat. Heat is sunlight. Photosynthesis. By photosynthesis, they use water and nutrient and produce food, meaning energy, sugar. And this sugar and energy will goes to some younger place, necessary part, and produce or grow more. So this is a kind of characteristic of Arabica coffee. Okay? Then let's move to technical part. So first of all, important part is nursery, making quality seedlings. This is a kind of very important part. First, please choose healthy tree. Healthy tree is usually very good production of coffee fruits and usually very shiny leaves and very good growth. So like this mother tree, you have to select. Usually the age 7 to 8 years old would be good. And this is coffee tree, your coffee tree. You selected. Let's say you selected coffee tree. Oh, this is very good production. And you divide it into 3 sections. And here, this part, let's say the kind of middle part of coffee tree, you just select and harvest coffee cherries from it. This part has a lot of nutrient and a very good maturity. That's why, so this part is very important to select for, to harvest for a coffee seed. And after harvest, so put your harvested coffee cherry into water. Here, put. And after putting water, so you have some floaters, floating cherries, floaters. Other is maybe sink, sunk, sinkers we call it. This sinker is we will be proceed to next stage, pulping, because this sinker is sunk because of the heaviness of nutrient and maturity. The floater is because of the damage of the insect or immature. So that's why the sinker one is very important. And after collection of sinker, then peel off by hand manually, like this one. So peel off manually. Then you may have 2 seeds inside of coffee cherries. But so as you see, so there's some slimy part here. We call it mucilage. This mucilage is very difficult to remove manually. We have to remove by fermentation. So fermentation is very easy. After remove, peel off by hand, you put into the water or any kind of bucket. Then overnight, you just leave it. Usually, after overnight, this slimy part can be removed. So maybe afternoon, you peel off and then put into the bucket with water, leave it overnight, and then next morning, you just check by hand whether its slimy part was removed or not. If it's removed, you can feel the surface of the parchment seed. This, after fermentation, wash softly with clean water and dry under shade, not direct sunlight. Direct sunlight will cause your seed is not germinated. It will not be germinated. So better to make it shade and then dry parchment under shade. Okay. And after the preparation of a seed, next is sowing. Sowing, you have to prepare the germination bed. Germination bed is usually like this one, elevated one from the ground, so that since there are a lot of microorganisms in the on the soil, so if you can elevate, you can make an elevated seed germination bed, then it can be avoided. So better to make like this one. But if you don't have any like materials, bamboo, then so just container is okay. And then filled with dirt, with humus, like this. For the germination bed, important part is depth. So better to have 20 centimeter. And also it's very sensitive to sunlight, so better to have shade, plant for shade. Okay. So next is sowing, right? Sowing is all the time flat side down, not like this. All the time, flat side. And you have to have a space, not really closer each other. This one, space here, right? This one is very important. After sowing, cover up with sand. This is the preparation. This is the sowing. Maybe I have some picture or the motion picture. Okay, yeah. This is after sowing, they put sand to cover up, like this. Okay. After cover up with sand, then next is preparation of soil for pot, because this is only germination, so that's why we call it germination bed. After germination, we have to prick out these germinated seed to poly bag. The ratio of soil is usually the 55% soil and 45% humus. That would be the very perfect ratio for the soil. Again, the poly bag should be good depth, at least 20 centimeter or 30 centimeter would be good. Okay, next is after sowing, maybe it takes 30 days to germinate. After germination, you may have a long, like this, roots, long one. But also you have like this coiled roots. And sometimes you may have like this splitted roots. This one is not good. Long and straight roots is good one. So you select these germinated seed and put into the poly bag. This is the germinated seed. Okay, for potting. So after selection of really straight roots, then you have to cut this part so that roots can grow laterally more. So you have to cut. Also, after cutting, and then during you transplanting to the pot, there are some tips. Because here, so since after pricking out, so the roots is like the tip of the roots go up. It's not good actually. So that's why after pushing into the soil, you have to pull back a bit so that roots can go down like this. Okay, maybe I have a motion pictures. Okay, here, this is in Lao. This stage is a bit late, so better to do just germinated immediate after the germination, but so still you can see the technique. So this farmer making a hole and then remove the tip by hand and put it into the poly bag. Also, you can see after putting into the poly bag, the farmer pull back a bit like this. Okay. So this is a way to pulling out. Okay, after putting germinated seed to the poly bag, you put into nursery with shade. This shade is very important since younger age of seedlings is very sensitive to coffee to sunlight. That's why you need shade. You have to cover up with palanet or any kind of shade, black shade or green shade. This one prevents sunlight and also heavy rain. This practice, this cover will continue until day 120, meaning 4 months after sowing. Okay? After 4 months, you just remove this part, this shade, and then bare to sunlight. This practice can enhance or reinforce the strength of leaves. We call it acclimatization. The shade nursery structure is like this one. So you just cover up with shade here and here. The important part is kind of the human path here. You cannot put respectively. You have to have open area so that the human can pass, and also you can water can be supplied. After acclimatization, transplanting. Before transplanting, you have to check the quality of seedlings. The checking part for seedling is 3 things. Six color, meaning here. So if you have a very thick color, that's good. But if you have very thin, not like very thick, then it's not good. Thick one. Usually template shape. And then second one is shiny leaves. Large and shiny leaves is very important. Sometimes you may have a very very pale green leaves. That's not good quality. Thick and shiny leaves is kind of hint sign that's ready for transplanting. And the third is kind of recommendable, just recommendable. It's not mandatory. But if you have a lateral branch like this, that's a very good sign it's ready to transplant. This is seedlings. But you may have like this one, pale green, while this one is very greenish. This one good, this one not good. So during you are raising your coffee seedlings, watering coffee seedlings, you will observe there's some really bad quality seedlings. You have to cut out those kind of seedlings so that you can keep quality coffee seedlings only in your nursery. Okay, next one is land preparation. Along with preparation of seedlings or nursery, you also have to prepare land. First, making a hole. The size is 60 centimeter wide, 60 centimeter length, 60 centimeter depth. And usually we can separate soil variety, topsoil and subsoil. Topsoil is rich in humus, nutrient, and subsoil with good texture. So maybe you just divide it into 2 parts. A and B. So this is top soil and this is subsoil. You just separate nearby the hole and bear to sunlight so that it can dry. The soil can be dried in the hole. And put manure, green manure here. After putting green manure, you also have to prepare compost. Any kind of compost, maybe humus would be okay. Humus from the from forest. Forest. Mix with this topsoil. Put in topsoil. Put into the hole. So day 1, making hole until day 30, you bear to sunlight. After 30 days, put green manure, leaves, twigs, any kind of green manure. And after 90 days, you put topsoil with humus. Okay? Then the time of transplanting may be 180 days after starting the making hole. So meaning 6 months later, 6 months. Okay. So for the flat land, you don't have to care about like making a hole or preparation of land. But if you have a slopy land, you have to make like this terrace here. This terrace will prevent soil erosion and also the soil surface runoff. You have to make like this terraces. Okay. After putting or after transplanting of your seedlings, you better to have like the compost. So on the flat land, you just put compost here, nearby main stem, but you have to away 30 centimeter away from the main stem, because the roots in the ground here is the only one to observe nutrient from compost. Not nearby, not in here, only here. That's why you have to put and take a distance from the main stem. On the slopy land, you better to put compost only here, near the edge, not to here. For putting seedlings on the slope, if you have spare time, I strongly recommend to put some weed at the edge of the slope, so that even though you have a torrential rain, this weed can prevent soil runoff. Okay. Next is planting layout. So the planting distance also very important. So usually the recommendable distance is 1.5 meter to 2.5 meter away each other. This is the length, and the width 2 to 2.5 meter. And in between coffee tree, you may have like these shade trees, and sometimes you may have some like a banana shoots. Also, you can have citrus. Maybe you can plant citrus instead of coffee trees. Bye. On the slope land, the distance is almost same, but the important part for slopey land is you have to plant along with contour line, so that the rain, soil surface runoff will prevent by coffee trees. Also, along with contour line, you better to plant some cover crop, let's say any kind of weed. This weed also can prevent. In between coffee, you can have that like these shade trees. As same with flatland, you also can plant some other crops as well. So my recommendation for slopey land, maybe you have coffee tree and you may have like this here, potato, sweet potato, or the ginger and cardamom you can plant here. Cardamom. So as I said, weed can prevent soil erosion. Okay. After growing successfully your coffee seedlings, next is maintenance. The most important part for maintenance in coffee farming is desuckering, is removing the top portion of coffee tree. Okay. Usually this practice can be done by by hand. If you have pruning shear, yeah, you can use it, but sometime you don't have it, then just remove it, pinch it by hand. This practice, if you remove this part, then this part, we call it lateral branch, will elongate, stimulate the growth of lateral branch. This practice can be done by at the height of 180 to 200 centimeter. This is a picture. See, so this one can be done by hand. But even though you remove the tip, maybe this tree will produce again new vertical stem. So this one also remove. So constantly, please make a visit to your coffee farm. Then, so check whether there's some new vertical stem is coming up or not. And if you saw it, remove it again. Okay. The next is cutback. Cutback is the practice for low productive coffee trees, not every coffee trees. So usually 20 to 40 years old coffee tree, this practice can be applied for. Very easy. So just stump it, the trunk at the such 30 centimeter above from the ground. The cutting surface should be slanted so that if you have a rain, the water can go down. Just only the flat side, the rain can be accumulate in here, and germs can be rampant, can be increased, then so it can be rotten or some damage to coffee trunk. So that's why the slanting is very important. The also important timing is this practice should be done after harvest season, not before the harvest season, because it's really you can harvest actually, so you don't have to do it. Then this practice can regenerate coffee production again. Maybe 1 to 3 years later, you may have a very good production. Okay, let's go through this part. After doing this cutback practice, so you may have new sprout, vertical sprout here, like this. Then select 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 sprout only. The orientation or part of the selection should be opposite. If you have sprout in here, the other side you have to select. Then later allow one stem to grow. Usually, as I said, it takes 2 to 3 years to start production again, but definitely you may have a very good production compared with the coffee tree which already old and low productive. Wait. Here. No. Maybe I've already have the picture here. Yeah, here. So slanted, cut back, and the new sprout is like this one. Then let them grow. After growing, you just select maybe this one only. This one, you just remove it. Later, you may have very thick stem like this. This is the old tree's trunk, and from it you have a very thick, very productive new sprout. Okay. And next is the last section, the farming schedule. So farming schedule is very important to set up your plan. And actually, so you are not only coffee farmer, but also rice farmer or corn farmer, any kind of crops you are growing. So that's why making plan is very important. Usually you have rainy season and dry season, rain and dry. The dry season is the preparation of seed and harvest, while the rainy season is kind of the maintenance season of coffee. So, selection of seed and sowing and preparation of soil for pot and nursery construction and potting should be done during dry season. So maybe you can start seed selection January and the sowing maybe January, February on the germination bed. Along with it, you can prepare soil for pot. Also nursery construction. After germination, you can flick out to the potting here, maybe on February and March. And those potted coffee seedlings can be confined in the coffee nursery with shade. Okay? Not direct sunlight. After 2-3 months later, on April, you can remove the shade. Then bare to sunlight, so that seedlings can be stronger and it's very adaptive to the usual environmental field where you are going to transplant. And the beginning of rainy season, you transplant. But before transplanting, you have to prepare whole and green manure input and a compost input. So this one also should be done in the February, March, May dry season. And transplant. Okay? The cutback should be done after the harvest season. Maybe you harvesting time here, maybe until March. And from April, it's dry season. It's a kind of summer. Then the immediate before the rainy season. So you just start stamping out the stem of the coffee trees in slanting manner. maybe 1 to 2 months later, you may have some sprout like this here, then remove, then leave to sprout. Later, maybe 1 to 2 years later, you have some fruits already. This is cutback or rejuvenation. Okay, so I hope this seminar will be helpful for copy for me. If you have any question, okay, let's proceed to our question part, Q&A. Okay, thank you very much.